You step through the arched entrance of the bathhouse in the last full light of a summer afternoon. The street noise of the Roman town falls away behind you almost immediately, replaced by a deep interior quiet that feels less like silence and more like the absence of urgency. This is Sleep Through History, a place where you can rest without pressure, without needing to follow every word or remember anything at all. You are welcome to drift, to let the story carry you, or simply to let it fade into the background as sleep finds you. The first room opens before you, cool and calm. This is the apodyterium, the undressing room, and it greets you with a gentle simplicity. Wooden benches line the walls, their surfaces worn to a pale smoothness by years of use, by countless others who have sat here before you, shedding the weight of the day. Cubby holes carved into the plaster hold folded cloth, linen the color of old honey in the slanting light. The air here is only faintly warm, still carrying a trace of the outside day, cedar and dry stone, before the heavier warmth deeper inside begins to reach forward. The bathhouse has been open since mid-morning. The last visitors of the day have only just gone, their voices and laughter dissolving into the streets beyond. What remains now is the building itself, settling into its quiet routines, attended by those who know its rhythms as well as their own breathing. Through the interior arch, you catch sight of the first attendant. A figure moves unhurriedly along the far side of the pool, carrying a clay vessel in both hands. The attendant refills the water level with a slow and practiced pour, the stream catching the amber light for a moment before it rejoins the surface. The attendant does not look up. There is nothing to look up for. The work is familiar, gentle, part of the day's closing. You at the threshold between the apodyterium and the next room, the tepidarium, the warm room. Here you feel the shift in temperature before you step forward. The air thickens slightly, becomes something you move through rather than simply breathe. The stone floor is warmer here, and as your bare feet find it, the heat rises up through the limestone from the hypocaust below. The network of low pillars and channels that carry the furnace's breath up through the building. You can feel it in your soles, in your ankles, a gentle insistence that asks nothing of you except to notice, and then to let the noticing go. The sound of water in the pipes becomes audible for the first time. It moves inside the walls, a low and constant murmur, always present, always the same. The water finds its way through the walls. You move forward into the warmth, into the deepening quiet. The light has begun to change. Late afternoon gold still slants through the high clerestory windows above, but it is softer now, losing its sharpness, and in the alcoves along the walls, oil lamps have been lit. Their glow is amber, warm, steady. They do not flicker. They simply hold their small pools of light against the gathering dimness. The tepidarium opens around you. Benches carved into niches along the walls offer places to sit, to rest, to let the warmth work its way into tired limbs. The air is thick with moisture, not oppressive, but present, something you can almost feel against your skin as you pass through it. Steam rises in faint wisps from the surface of a shallow pool set into the floor, its edges lined with limestone worn smooth by the touch of hands, the passage of bodies lowering themselves into the water over years and years. You approach the pool's edge. The stone is warm beneath your fingers, the lip rounded and pale, polished by all those who have come before. You trace it lightly, feeling the grain of it, the way the surface has been shaped not by intention, but by use, by the simple repetition of human presence. The water in the pool is clear, faintly rippled by the currents that feed it from below. You can see the mosaic at the bottom, simple patterns in blue and white, sea creatures moving in frozen procession along the tiles, fish and waves repeating, returning, always in motion and always still. You sit at the edge for a moment, feet resting on the submerged step. The warmth of the water meets the warmth of the air, and there is no boundary between them, only a softness that wraps around you without weight. Somewhere deeper in the building, you hear the faint drip of condensation falling from the vaulted ceiling, a slow and patient rhythm. The attendant you saw earlier passes through the far doorway, moving toward the next room with the same unhurried grace. The vessel is empty now, and the figure disappears into the deeper warmth beyond, into the caldarium where the heat is heaviest, and the steam rises thick enough to blur the edges of everything. You do not need to follow. You can simply rest here at the threshold where the warmth holds you without demand. The water finds its way through the walls. You move now into the tepidarium fully, leaving the cool threshold behind you, and the warmth wraps around your shoulders and settles into your skin. The room opens above you, its ceiling a broad barrel vault that rises high into shadow. The plaster surface tinted faintly orange and gold by the light that comes through narrow windows set just below where the curve begins. The light falls in soft bars across the floor, catching the small tiles at different angles so that some sections seem to glow faintly while others remain in warm shadow, and the pattern shifts almost imperceptibly as the afternoon moves toward evening. The floor beneath your bare feet is mosaic, laid long ago, the surface smooth and slightly uneven where the grout lines rise between the tiles. You feel the texture more than you look at it now. The small ridges, the gentle grid, the warmth that has soaked into the stone and now radiates upward through your soles and into your ankles. There are shapes in the mosaic, fish and sea creatures, moving in frozen procession through a field of deep blue and green, but the colors are soft in this light, and you do not follow them closely. They are simply there beneath you, part of the floor, part of the stillness. The sound of the water is here too, the same sound you heard in the first room, a low interior murmur that comes from the clay pipes set into the walls. It is not quite a gurgle and not quite a hum, something between the two, steady and entirely without variation. It has been the same sound all day. It will be the same sound through the night. The water finds its way through the walls. You walk slowly across the floor toward the far side of the room where the warm pool lies flat and still beneath its rising steam. The edge of the pool is stone, the lip rounded and smooth, worn by the accumulated pressure of countless hands that have rested there over decades, over perhaps a century of afternoons like this one. You reach the edge and lay one hand along the rim, and the stone is warm and very smooth, almost soft in feeling, though it is, of course, stone. The warmth of it spreads into your palm, into your wrist, and you let your hand rest there without thought, without purpose. The pool itself is shallow and clear, the water almost motionless. Steam rises from the surface in slow columns that drift upward through the golden air, bending slightly only when the attendant moves past somewhere in the middle distance, a quiet shadow among shadows. The warmth here is deep and even, radiating not only from the water, but from the floor beneath your feet and the walls at your back. A warmth that has accumulated through the long afternoon and now releases itself slowly as the light begins to fade. There is a low bench beside the pool, and you move to it without hurry, lowering yourself onto the stone surface. The bench is warm, almost alive with retained heat, and you settle your weight onto it and feel the warmth rise into your legs, into your hips. You lean back slowly against the wall, and the wall too is warm, radiating a deep and steady heat that presses against your shoulders and your spine and the back of your head. The stone holds you. The warmth holds you. The light through the high windows is softer now, more amber than gold, and the bars it casts across the floor are widening, losing their edges. In the alcoves, along the walls, the small oil lamps have begun to glow, their flames so faint at first that you are not certain they are lit, and then certain, and then no longer thinking about it at all. The water finds its way through the walls. You close your eyes, and the room remains, its warmth undiminished, its sounds unchanged. The murmur of the water in the pipes continues without variation, a sound so constant it becomes part of the silence. Somewhere far off, a single drop of condensation falls from the ceiling and strikes the surface of the pool with a soft sound, and then the stillness returns. Your breath slows to match the room, each inhalation drawing in the warm, humid air, each exhalation releasing without effort. The steam drifts upward. The light fades by degrees, so small they cannot be marked. You rest against the wall and feel the heat move through you, not from outside, but as though it has always been there, as though you and the stone and the water and the warm air are all part of the same slow rhythm, the same long afternoon dissolving into evening. The attendant passes again, footsteps soft and wet on the mosaic, and does not look toward you. The lamps glow a little brighter now, their light pooling in the alcoves, reaching only a small distance into the room before fading into the golden haze. Everything is warm. Everything is still. The water finds its way through the walls, through the clay channels, through the stone, carrying heat from the furnace rooms below, dispersing it evenly into every surface, into the floor and the benches and the rim of the pool and the air itself. You do not think about how this happens. You feel only the result, the warmth that surrounds you, that holds you, that asks nothing. You rest. The light continues to soften. The murmur continues. The steam rises and disperses and rises again, and you are held here in the warmth, in the stillness, as the day lets go and the evening comes and the bathhouse settles into its long, quiet night. You move deeper into the building now, not because you decide to, but because the warmth draws you forward and the steam is heavier here. This is the caldarium, the hot room, and it is simply the next space. And it is warmer, and that is enough. The air presses against your skin with a weight that feels almost like touch. The steam sits thick and continuous above the main pool, rising in a slow, steady layer that climbs toward the vault and thins as it goes, never disappearing, only becoming something lighter than itself. You can feel the warmth in your chest when you breathe, and the breath comes slower here, as though the air asks for slowness. The light has changed. The clerestory windows are narrower in this room, set higher in the walls, and the last daylight outside has begun to lose its gold. What comes through now is paler, a thin, undirected glow that does not reach the floor. But the oil lamps in the stone alcoves along the walls have been lit, and each one is a small clay vessel with a single wick, and the flame is very still in the windless air. The light each lamp throws is warm orange, and it does not travel far, but there are enough of them that the room is never dark, only softly graduated between brightness and shadow. You notice the surface of the pool. The steam sits above it, and where the lamplight manages to touch the water beneath, you can see small movements, barely movements at all, tiny oscillations that come from the inflow of fresh water through the pipe at the far end. The water itself is a dark, deep green-gray in this light, and the movements are so slight that you might only imagine them, except that they are there, continuous and patient. The sound of water in the pipes is different here, closer, as though the pipes run nearer to the surface of the wall in this room. You can almost feel it as well as hear it, a faint, deep vibration in the wall behind the bench where you rest, not quite a sound and not quite a touch, but something between the two. It hums through the stone, through the warmth, through the stillness, and it does not change. The water finds its way through the walls. At the far end of the room, the attendant moves into view for a moment, adjusting one of the lamps in its alcove. The movement is small and slow, a hand reaching, a slight tilt of the vessel, and then stillness again. Then the attendant moves through an archway and is not visible, and the room is simply the room, and you are simply here, and the warmth continues. You rest your hand on the worn lip of the pool. The stone is smooth under your palm, smoothed by countless hands before yours, and it is warm from the water, and from the air. The edge curves gently downward, and you can feel where the stone meets the water, the boundary between solid and liquid, both of them warm, both of them patient. The steam moves above the pool in shapes you cannot name. It rises and spreads and thins, and the lamplight catches it in places, turning it faintly orange, faintly gold, and then it moves beyond the light and becomes only itself again, colorless and soft. You watch it without following it, without trying to see where it goes. It simply moves, and you simply rest, and the warmth holds everything. The sound of the water in the pipes continues. That low, steady murmur, that faint vibration in the stone. It is closer here, and you can feel it in your shoulders when you lean back against the wall, a gentle hum that never rises and never fades. The water moves through the clay and the stone, through the hidden channels, and it has always moved this way, and it will continue. One of the lamps flickers just once and then steadies. The light it gives does not change, only shifts for a moment, and the shadows along the wall shift with it, and then everything is as it was. You breathe, and the steam is warm in your lungs. You rest, and the stone is warm beneath you. The water sounds, and the light glows, and the air holds you without effort. The water finds its way through the walls. The surface of the pool reflects nothing clearly, only a soft wash of orange from the nearest lamp, a glow that sits on the water without breaking. The small movements continue, those tiny oscillations, the water responding to itself, to the inflow that never stops, to the rhythm that has no beginning. You do not need to watch. The movements are there whether you see them or not. Your hand still rests on the lip of the pool. The stone is warm. The steam rises. The sound continues. That low murmur, that faint hum through the walls. Everything is as it has been, and there is no need for anything to change. The lamplight glows in its alcoves. Each flame is still. Each lamp gives its small circle of warmth and light, and the circles overlap gently, and the room is soft with them, soft with shadow, soft with steam. You let your eyes rest on the surface of the pool, or on the steam above it, or on nothing in particular. The warmth is enough. The sound is enough. The stone beneath you, the air around you, the light that does not ask you to see anything clearly. The water finds its way through the walls, through the pipes, through the stone. It has always found its way, and it continues, and you rest here, and the warmth continues, and everything is held. The steam rises from the surface of the pool. You have been watching it for some time now, and it continues to rise, slow and patient, in soft columns that thin as they climb toward the vault above. Some of the columns catch the lamplight as they pass through it and become briefly visible, glowing gold for a moment before they dissolve into the shadow overhead. The vault is gentle darkness now, stone curved in space you cannot quite see. Condensation has gathered there on the ceiling, small beads of water that cling to the stone until they are heavy enough to fall. A single drop releases and falls back to the pool with a sound that is very small and very clear. Then another, somewhere to your left. The drops do not fall often. There is no pattern to predict. They simply arrive when they arrive, each one a tiny sound in the warm air, and then the air returns to its own quiet. The water finds its way through the walls. Your hand is still resting on the worn lip of the pool. The stone there is smooth, shaped by years of other hands, other afternoons. The warmth of it has settled into your palm. There was a time earlier when you could feel where your skin ended and the stone began, but that boundary has softened now. The stone is warm, your hand is warm. The two rest together without any line between them that needs to be noticed. The smoothness is simply there beneath your fingers, constant and easy, requiring nothing. The steam continues to rise. It does not hurry. It moves at the speed that steam moves, drawn upward by warmth into cooler air, spreading as it climbs. Some of it drifts toward the alcoves where the lamps are glowing. Some of it simply rises straight toward the vault and vanishes into the soft shadow there. You can watch it, or you can let your gaze rest somewhere in the middle distance where the air is too full of moisture to be truly clear. Either way, the steam keeps rising. It does not need to be seen to continue. The sound of the water moving through the pipes fills the walls around you. It has been there all afternoon, below your awareness and inside it, a low, steady murmur that never changes. The water moved through these walls this morning when the furnaces were first fed. It moved through the walls at midday when the bathhouse was full of voices. It is moving through the walls now in the empty quiet of evening, and it will move through the walls tonight, after the lamps have been trimmed, and tomorrow, and the day after that. The sound does not ask anything of you. It does not build or fade. It is simply there, steady, the way a wall is steady, the way stone is steady. You do not need to listen to it. It continues whether you notice it or not. A drop falls from the vault. Then the room returns to the sound of the pipes and the steam and the faint glow of the lamps in their alcoves. The attendant passed through the room a while ago. You remember the soft sound of footsteps on wet stone, the slight movement of air as someone walked near the edge of the pool. One of the lamps was adjusted. The flame rose a little higher in its niche, and the reflection on the water brightened and steadied. Then the footsteps moved away toward the far arch and faded and were gone. The room was left to its own warmth. The steam continued. The water continued to move through the walls. Nothing changed. Nothing needed to change. The steam rises in slow columns from the pool. It catches the lamplight and glows gold and dissolves. It rises into shadow and spreads and is gone. The pattern is the same each time, gentle and soft, asking nothing, offering nothing but itself. Your hand rests on the stone lip of the pool. The stone is smooth. The stone is warm. These are the only two things that need to be true about it. The warmth has traveled from the stone into your hand, or from your hand into the stone. There is no difference now. The boundary is no longer something you can find. Your fingers rest against smoothness. Warmth rests inside warmth. The stone has been here for years. Your hand has been here for an afternoon. Both are still. Both are warm. Both are enough. The water finds its way through the walls. The sound does not rise or fall. It does not build into something that requires your attention or fade into something you must strain to hear. It remains exactly where it is, below everything else, steady and low and constant. The water moved through these walls yesterday. It will move through these walls tomorrow. Right now, it is moving through the walls, and that is all it needs to do. That is all anything needs to do. A drop falls from the vault. The sound is very small. The sound is very clear. Then it is gone, and there is only the steam again, rising, and the lamplight glowing soft in the alcoves, and the warmth of the stone beneath your hand. The steam rises from the surface of the pool in columns that thin and spread and dissolve before they reach the ceiling. Some of them pass through lamplight and become gold. Some of them rise into shadow and are simply gone. The vault above holds them for a moment in moisture that gathers and clings to the stone and eventually falls, one drop at a time, back to the water below. Your hand rests on the worn lip of the pool. The stone is smooth. The stone is warm. There is no edge between your palm and the surface beneath it. There is only warmth and smoothness and the gentle weight of your hand at rest. The water finds its way through the walls. The sound continues, low and steady, below everything, asking nothing, the way water moves when it has somewhere to go and all the time it needs to get there. The steam rises, the lamplight glows, the warmth remains. You are warm. The heat rises through the stone beneath you, steady and even, just as it has been rising all afternoon. The floor holds you. The warmth moves through your skin without effort, and you receive it without thought. The walls around you hold warmth within them. You have felt this before many times. The pipes carry their water in the dark spaces inside the stone, and the stone remembers the heat. The air between you and the walls is soft with it. You breathe in, and the breath is warm. The steam makes the air full and gentle. You breathe out, and the breath leaves slowly. There is nothing for your body to do except remain here, held by warmth from below, from the walls, from the air itself. The water finds its way through the walls. You hear it now as you have heard it all along. The sound is low. It moves through clay and stone in lines you cannot see. It does not ask for your listening. It continues, steady and patient, the same sound it made before you arrived, the same sound it will make long after you have gone. The pool beside you holds warmth at its surface. You do not need to touch it to know this. The heat rises from it into the air, and the air carries it to you. Everything here gives its warmth to everything else, and you are part of this exchange, receiving without effort. Your breath moves in. Your breath moves out. The steam fills each inward breath with softness. Each outward breath asks nothing of you. The lamps in the alcoves still burn, small and still. You do not need to look at them. They are simply there, points of amber warmth in the surrounding softness, asking nothing, offering their steady light to the stone. The sound of the water continues. It has always been there, beneath every other sound, woven into the silence. It moves through the walls without hurry. It finds its way in the dark, patient and certain. You are warm. The floor is warm beneath you. The walls are warm around you. The air is warm and soft against your skin. You breathe, and the warmth fills you. You breathe out, and the warmth remains. There is nothing to do. There is nothing to follow. The heat holds you. The sound holds you. The warmth moves through everything, and you're held inside it. Your body rests. The stone rests. The water moves, and even its movement is a kind of rest. The same path taken again and again, unhurried, unchanged. The water finds its way through the walls. You hear it. You do not need to listen. It is simply there. As the warmth is there, as the stone is there beneath you, it continues in the dark. It has always continued. Your breath is slow. The air is soft. The warmth surrounds you, and you rest inside it without effort, without thought. The surface of the pool is still. Lamplight lies across it, a slow reflection, warm and amber. Steam rises above the water, soft shapes dissolving into the dark vault overhead, and through it all, through the silence and the stillness and the warmth, the sound of water continues through the stone, unchanged, unhurried, present.